Welcome back, everyone. Next, we have SinglePoint Inc. It trades on the CBOE under the symbol SING and is a renewable energy and sustainable lifestyle company focused on providing environmentally friendly energy efficiencies and healthy living solutions. Happy to welcome back its CEO, Wil Ralston. Nice to see you, Wil.
Nice to see you as well, Anna. Thank you for having us on.
All right, the floor is yours. Call me back when you're ready for questions.
That sounds great. Thank you. First of all, thanks everybody for tuning in. My name is Wil Ralston, CEO of SinglePoint Inc., and we are traded on CBOE under the ticker symbol SING. Going to go through the presentation today and look forward to answering questions afterwards, and any questions that we don't get to, we'll definitely follow up with. We're focused heavily in two specific markets that have massive tailwinds behind them and are really top of mind because there's things that we need. As we spend 90% of our time indoors every day, we need power and we need clean air. And these are two rising topics that continue to drive investment, to drive discussion around creating safe air environments for people to congregate and get together safely, and also the need to develop and procure more energy as we move towards the electrification of everything. From our cars to our HVAC systems, we currently don't produce enough energy across the U.S. and the world in order to meet our energy needs that are coming upon us. Our strategy has really been on the energy side to find and acquire businesses that are, one, have great leadership teams, have shown a historical ability to grow, and drive great community involvement. So what does that look like to us? Our first acquisition of Boston Solar is a great example of this, where the company's been in business for over 10 years. They've significantly grown that business throughout that time, proud partner of the Boston Red Sox, and really built that community feel. So when we're looking at our acquisition strategy, those are the types of acquisitions we're looking to make in the solar energy market, and especially on the EPC side, which really means the individuals putting the panels on the roofs, on the ground, and we're focused in that residential small commercial area. And on the air purification side, looking at placing those units throughout K through 12 schools, as there's been $121 billion dedicated by the federal government to fulfill and really transition new ventilation and HVAC standards within these schools. There's decade-long market tailwinds in both of these businesses. The recently passed IRA in the solar market allocated $389 billion to solar and renewable energy tax credits and extended those tax credits for the next decade. On the air quality side, again, over $120 billion dedicated to schools and $350 billion dedicated to federal government, through the federal government to commercial buildings to improve indoor air quality and ventilation. So in reviewing, really what the solar opportunity is and where we're focused at, only about 4% of the market has been penetrated and is actively utilizing solar on a residential and small commercial basis. And that's where our niche is. We're looking at sub 5 kW or 5 megawatt systems, and really places us in that rooftop residential, rooftop commercial buildings such as and cold storage facility and different areas like that can really offset their power needs and also reduce their cost of operating through procuring their energy through a renewable solution. This really spurs the entire market, for us, being that there's tax equity incentives for large scale installations. And for our residential customers, it helps them secure their monthly payments and be able to really create a safe, redundant energy source so that when there are different things that may be happening within their environment, they have always on power. Through going solar, installing batteries, you're able to secure your power source and ensure that you're safe during anything that may be going on around you. It also helps ensure that you're economically looking at a consistent bill each month. Over the past decade, we've seen electricity rises about 4% every year, and over the last year, we've seen it rise about 16%. So it can be very cost-consuming in order to just keep looking at paying that utility company. Instead, our customers are going solar and really able to lock in that rate for themselves. In consolidating our businesses, we want to be that first vertically integrated national supplier, national partner that has great companies in each geographic location. Right now, we're heavily focused in the Northeast, as our first acquisition of Boston Solar has really planted our flag there. And we want to replicate that across the nation, putting great companies in these areas, because solar is hyper-local. So Boston Solar, we've shown the ability to acquire and then grow organically. We've gone from 17 million to 24 million to up over $30 million in trailing 12 months revenue. And that's just happened over the last 2 years that we've actually acquired that business. That's exactly what we want to continue to do. And as we grow and make more acquisitions, we're going to see costs come down through the elimination of redundant systems, being able to purchase more product and reduce our cost of goods, and that'll overall drive profitability for the entity. And what we've done at Boston Solar over the last 90 days is reduce our cost by about $3.5 million, putting the company on track to being operationally profitable by the end of Q2, which is an exciting turn for the company, as we've been really focused on that revenue growth, again, from 17 million to up over 30 million in trailing 12 months. And now this year, we're really focused on turning that key to profitability. At the end of the day, what it looks like is us really being that single point for our customers, our partners. You come to us and one of our companies and our subsidiaries, and we're going to walk you through the entire process. It's about having that lifetime value for the customer. When a customer moves, or say they have a small business as well, when they're looking at going to a renewable energy source or EV charging or energy storage, we want them to think of us first, whether that's 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road. Again, we're the company that they worked with and they're going to continue to come back to. An additional driver for us is we see a huge arbitrage opportunity, and we've identified that we can make these acquisitions from anywhere from 1 to 3 times, and then they trade in the market for anywhere from 5 to 7 times. And as that revenue number grows and as that profitability number grows, we actually see those multiples increase. Over the last year, we've seen some of the solar coaster, is the industry term, and that said, it's kind of low right now. So we see an opportunity to really go, acquire additional businesses at this time in the market and be able to ride those multiples back up as the industry continues to improve. Costs overall have significantly come down, 60% over the last 10 years, which has really made solar economical for everybody. There's almost nowhere that we don't look at that it doesn't pencil out from an economic basis, considering the different tax incentives and the cost of energy rising annually. It's really economical for people to go solar on that residential and small commercial building. And overall, whether or not it's driven by the residential demand or the small business consumer demand, commercial demand, solar is being adopted to meet the energy needs. And right now, through all the data centers that are processing for artificial intelligence, all of the electric vehicles that are coming on the grid, and really what we call E2X, electrifying X, whatever it might be, we're moving towards that ecosystem to make sure that everything's run off of electricity, and we need to be able to produce enough electricity to meet those demands. And the only scalable way to currently do that is through rooftop solar, ground mount solar, from residential all the way to utility scale. It can take years to set up new mines. It can take years to get permitting. We can roll out systems in a matter of months. If you're looking at a larger commercial or utility system, maybe it's a matter of years. But at the end of the day, it is the only current way to effectively set up large-scale energy production systems. A little bit about our indoor air quality. We've won a government contract from the state of California for $5 million that we're currently active on and fulfilling. That was through the EANS program. There's multiple programs surrounding indoor air quality and really the push to ensure that we're breathing clean, healthy air. Overall, this has been stemmed by the pandemic of 3 years ago, but it's brought a lot of various things to top of mind, such as the buildings that we've been living and breathing in have been sealed in due to energy.gov standards. But what we didn't realize during that time is we're sealing in the various the various things that come out of our carpets and come out of the air, such as mold and pollens and allergens. So we need a way to ensure that we're breathing clean air. This affects our cognitive ability. It affects, our day-to-day life. And we spend 90% of our time indoors. When we're sharing air with other people, it's 3% of somebody else's air. So when you're in that conference room, that classroom, we want to ensure that we can create a well-ventilated, a well-purified space so that you're thinking clearly, you have plenty of energy, and at the end of the day, just living a healthier lifestyle through the air that you breathe. So in 2021, we found company Box Pure Air, which we acquired, and we recently acquired the remaining 49% interest in that business, so that SinglePoint's 100% owner. We've got 3 different units that all operate under the same overarching standard of certified HEPA. And that certified HEPA is the key. It's the tried and true technology that filters everything out. Each one of these purifiers that leaves the factory is actually tested to ensure that it's 99.999% accurate and removing those particles out of the air. There's massive market drivers behind us for this. There's huge bills being passed in both federally and at the state level. Illinois recently had a big one that's on the floor right now to pass for schools and their clean air project, clean air solutions, and what they're going to do there. And so as we see these various states that we're winning bids in, such as California, South Carolina, North Carolina, where we've actually sold units, there's additional states coming on board. Only about 30% of the money that's been allocated has been spent to date of the 121 billion. So there's still a massive market there and a long road to go to fulfilling those. In summary, these 2 businesses that we're focused on have huge tailwinds for the next 10 years, both governmental, lifestyle, and simply moving towards that clean air, clean energy economy will continue to drive these businesses forward. As discussed, we've been continuing to grow the revenue base, 17 million, 24 million, up over $30 million in trailing 12 months. We expect 2024 to continue that trend and be identified as that high growth company and making that turn to operational profitability. Our biggest success so far, I would say, is we've been the first U.S. company to list on CBOE, which is a competitor to NASDAQ, NYSE, and they're really the first purpose-driven exchange is how they've identified themselves. Many of you probably recognize the name from the Chicago Board of Options Exchange, and they trade over $1.8 trillion through their platform each and every day. Their equity side is new, and we're proud to say that we are the first company to list on their U.S. equity side, which is an exciting time for the company, and it's really unlocked the ability for us to continue driving the growth of the business. On management side, we've got myself, Wil Ralston, Chad Miles, who runs our operations, Corey Lambrecht, who's been about at 5 other public companies, and Barney Monty, who's been on the head of capital markets and banking with many well-known on the banking side. Appreciate to open it up to any questions now, Anna, if I've had any come in.
Great job, Wil. Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. So the annual report, it has not been filed yet. So give us an update on it.
Yeah, so we put that in. We put out our notification to file within this grace period. Overall, there's been a lot of transactions and a lot of growth at the company. Over $28.5 million in revenue this year, the uplisting to CBOE, just a lot of transactions and a lot of information. We've, gotten through all of that, and it's just a lot for the audit team to process as well. So we're continuing to work through that. We expect to get that out here in the near term, and it's positive. It's unfortunate. We know we don't like, having to have filed and to get into the grace period, but we are driving extremely hard to ensure that we get that out timely here.
Understandable. There's been a lot of announcements about Boston Solar commercials. So how is the residential market looking?
Yeah, we've been extremely pleased with the performance on the commercial side of the business. It's, almost weekly, it seems like they're bringing in new contracts and kicking off new ones. There's $20 million in active projects that are currently being developed and built, and we'll see those come in throughout the year in terms of final installation and pushing those over the installed point. The residential side of solar in general had a really rocky end of the year. And we're happy to see that starting to come out. Last month for March, I think we got these numbers yesterday, we actually had over 40 new projects come into, our team sold 40 projects, which is a huge success. And we're excited to see that residential side start to pick back up. Commercial supported it while it was in a lull, and now it appears to be coming out of that. And that's really one of the areas that we made a lot of change, is we really reduced the spend and our overall costs on the residential side, and now have put in these new efficiencies and new functions. So we spent about a third of what we typically spend on customer acquisition, and we acquired more customers than we had been historically. So it's exciting to see that all of this is starting to work out.
Good to hear. Talk a little bit about 2024. What does it look like?
Drive to profitability. We're looking at operational profitability at the Boston Solar level and continuing to grow the top line revenue of the business. That's a huge factor for us. And with the focus on, profit first has been our drive, been our initiative, and what we're working to achieve with the teams. Overall, there has been a compression in the market, which we see as an opportunity because the multiples for our acquisitions have come down. And while we've identified and discussed with a lot of targets and had been pretty far down the path, this compression in the market has kind of adjusted those multiples. And a lot of these, what were sellers are saying, look, I want to wait till this comes back because I didn't want to be in this multiple or price point to sell my business in. So we're still in those. Everybody's still, working towards getting those acquisitions done. And for us, again, we see it as an opportunity because there has been a compression for us to go ahead and be able to acquire these businesses at a lower multiple and actually be able to grow them and ride that multiple back up as that residential business recovers in the market.
And I see that you're listed on the CBOE. How has that been? How's that helped the business?
CBOE has been phenomenal, extremely supportive. Got to spend a lot of time with their team 2 weeks ago at another conference that we were out at the Roth conference. And we're excited that they've entered the market and decided to open up to U.S. Equities and securities. And being that first listed company has been a great experience. It's a tier 1 exchange, same thing as NASDAQ or NYSE. They're really now that third U.S. equity listed exchange that's kind of breaking up what's been a duopoly historically between NYSE and NASDAQ. And we're excited for their growth, and they've been extremely supportive of ours. So we'll continue to do everything there with CBOE. And it's really opened up our business to have those discussions because now we're on a listed exchange. There was a lot of parties that, investors and acquisition targets that simply weren't interested, and in some cases just couldn't invest or do anything while we were an OTC company. But now that we're on a tier 1 global exchange, that's changed that dynamic.
Well, that's good to hear, Wil. Do you have any closing remarks for our viewers today?
Just appreciate everybody tuning in. If there was any other questions that weren't answered, we'll get those and get an answer back out to everybody. CBOE is the exchange we're listed on under the ticker symbol SING. And thanks again.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We look forward to continuing on these conversations throughout the year. We appreciate it, Wil.
Thanks, Anna.
Okay, everyone, stay with us. We'll be right back at the top of the hour with Element 79 Gold Corp. See you soon.